Recently I played through Halo 3 with the help of some friends, and we drove each other insane. The following is a completely accurate summary of the campaign. Trust me, if you enjoy the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. The game begins where Halo 2 left off, with Chief riding the key ship to stop Truth from finding the Ark, and never mind, we're just gonna jump right off the key ship immediately to prolong the events of the game. Johnson wakes us up from our nap and lets us know that the Arbiter will be replacing Player 2 for the first time, so we won't be seeing Dust and Echoes again because I guess we finally got over our severe brain damage from the first two games. We're also joined by Dave, the Blue Elite. The Arbiter accidentally kills John, and thus begins the series of unfortunate accidents that befall everyone throughout this campaign, probably stemming from the grudge that the humans and elites still hold because of all the murdering they did to each other. After restarting the level because of technical difficulties, Master Chief dies again because Dave is allergic to heresy.
I really shouldn't have picked up the extra 4 shifts.
That's true.
And we murder our way through some monkeys' birthday parties, and then Dave gets killed because he's got a squishy face.
Oh, shit.
We ruin several picnics and catch back up to Johnson, who's being jailed for tax evasion, so we slaughter everyone between us and the cell and let him out so he can fly us back home, because we're not legally allowed to drive Pelicans. After arriving to a Star Wars reference, we catch back up to Miranda, who sounds a little more barely legal than she did in Halo 2.
Catchy. Any idea what it means? If he succeeds, humanity, the Covenant.
And she explains that Truth has decided to start digging holes in the African plains like a child in a sandbox and park his erection right in the middle. We check back into, oh lord, look at that face, Hood, and we're interrupted by Truth, who sounds like he smoked a few packs between Halo 2 and 3.
Here rests the vanguard of the great journey.
All of you vermin, cowering the dirt.
And he makes fun of us for a bit, so Miranda decides that we're gonna move across the country to call him a bitch. Hang on, I just want to pause here a second and rant about something. When Truth shows up, he mentions Chief, the demon, presumably because he knows that they picked him up and he fought through a bunch of Covenant, so they would have been able to really easily relay back to Truth that Chief survived jumping off of the key ship. Johnson remarks that Truth loves to run his mouth, which we can attribute to the time that he had to deal with Truth while he was captured by Tartarus. But then, Chief asks if Truth usually mentions him, which is where things start to get a little fucky. Does that mean Truth has been hacking into the UNSC frequencies to insult them for a while now? If that's the case, how long was Chief unconscious after he fell out of the key ship? It looked like only a couple of hours based on the time of day. Truth has only been back on Earth for a couple of hours now then too, right? And then because Chief asks if Truth usually mentions him, even though Truth could have easily been told that Chief was alive during the events of Sierra 117, as I already said, Miranda takes this as a sign that Truth knows where they are and that the Covenant are coming to attack, which doesn't really make any sense. They do come to attack, but I don't understand this series of events at all. Okay, back to the summary. A Marine asks Miranda where the squad should rally up, and Miranda gives him literally the most unhelpful answer possible.
God damn
it! She said the thing!
We fight our way out of some samey hallways and spawn kill some aliens, before having to run back through the same samey hallways we just came from to arm a bomb, interrupt a family get-together, and then escape through the sewers. After wrestling some sewer monkeys, we fight off some of the Wicked Witch's goons and find out that the bomb we left was disabled, so we have to go back through the same samey hallways some more, and then take an elevator that immediately crashes because I guess we're all so fat that we exceeded the weight maximum. After waking up, we're suddenly joined by Uzi, and Dave burns to death immediately. We hop into some Pumas and leave the Arbiter behind, but Uzi doesn't want to leave the guy who controls his paycheck behind, so we go back for him, but then he mysteriously dies in a car accident, but I guess we'll never know what happened. The Arbiter gets out to grab a transport hog, but unfortunately that one was already destroyed when he got to it. After our last two hogs get destroyed under more mysterious circumstances, we're forced to walk the rest of the way on foot, because sprint doesn't belong in a Halo game. John asks a brute nicely to borrow his chopper, and I fall off of a highway, but that's okay because I source engine my way up a ladder, and we murder some commuters who just stopped to get a snack. Dave gets splattered by a brute, and we commandeer a wraith, except they left without me, so I enjoy some more riveting gameplay once again, highlighting the point that sprint doesn't belong in a Halo game. Gee, I sure am glad sprinting isn't in Halo. That would sure ruin this experience for me. I catch back up to everyone, but all the murdering is already done. Miranda drops us off a couple of warthogs, and suddenly we're in a tunnel with a bunch of other warthogs that we picked up along the way, I guess? Uzi gets crushed in some doors because I guess elites are distant cousins to Blackburn from Halo 3. We murder some dock workers and jump in a lake that doesn't exist anymore, so we can take out some anti-aircraft wraiths and then move to the next area to do the exact same thing. After taking out some more wraiths, we're interrupted by a scarab, and we jump on board to take it out with no problems whatsoever.
Go, 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 go!
Ah! Oh, wait, I got brute shotted. What?
Where's the core? Wait, where am I? Am I on the wrong floor? Oh, yeah, I'm on the wrong floor. Okay.
It's destroyed. Get
Go,
get
go,
off.
go!
Get off.
What? What? No, you stay on. It's fine. We need someone recon.
It's sat on Zap.
We make our way inside and kill some more dock workers, and then back outside to take out a mounted gun, so that we can proclaim ourselves King of the Hill. The Australian Space Squad flies in and tries to shoot apart Truth's key ship, but that doesn't stop it in the slightest and activates a giant portal in the sky, and then it fucks off to the Ark. The Arbiter asks a stupid question because literally all he did in Halo 2 was deal with the Flood, and then we pretty much just run our way through this entire level because it's really short. We run inside the crashed ship and catch up to our Blue E-Girl, and 343 Industries shows up. Somehow. And lets us know that he's not salty about us blowing up his Halo ring, so he'll help us take good care of our Blue E-Girl because he's one of her top donators now. We're Ubered out by some elites and the shipmaster glasses half of Africa just to make sure that none of the Flood gets out, even though it's definitely all over our shoes right now. Blue E-Girl lets us know that Gravemind is on his way to Earth in High Charity, but doesn't know about the portal to the Ark or where it leads, and that she's got a solution to the Flood without firing the remaining Halo rings. Then, Shipmaster and Lord Hood argue for a bit, and Lord Hood says that we're all going to stay here and fight the Flood on Earth. The Arbiter disagrees, and that's the end of the game, I guess, because MCC kicked us out.
Wait, what? It just goes, no, and then the cutscene ends. What?
We go through Floodgate again to watch the cutscene at the end, but...
Who skipped the cutscene?
Oh no.
The whole reason we replayed the mission was for the cutscene! God damn it! Now we gotta do it again!
So we go through Floodgate a third time, and this time we actually get to see the end of the conversation, where Arbiter-in-Chief convinced Lord Hood that he should totally donate to the Blue E-Girl, so we pack up and head off to the Ark to pick her up and gather her donations. We pop onto the Ark of the Covenant, and then it doesn't burn us into claymation skeletons. So we drop in from orbit in a Pelican because we left the pods that are specifically designed to do orbital dropping in our other pants. Chief steals an ODST sniper rifle because what's he gonna do? Tell on us? We're dropped in a desert with a squad with no name, and it feels good to shoot alien brains. We steal back a hog that the aliens stole from us, and use it to trade with the monkeys for their prowler so we can fit all 4 of us in one car. But the Arbiter betrays Uzi for... no reason, and then we drive off, so I manipulate time and we leave him behind.
Go, 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 go!
Oh.
After borrowing another vehicle, we get into some road rage and destroy anyone else's vehicles in the area because they're hogging the road, and the Forward Unto Dawn shows up and drops us off some tanks because we never get ourselves anything. We slide our way to a building and try to kill 343 Industries, but unfortunately they've got plot armor and can't be killed by bullets. After getting teleported inside, I show Dave how to properly teabag because he was doing it wrong.
Magically open his
Ow!
My bad.
You gotta do it slowly, watch, let me show you. You gotta do it like this.
Yeah, you can't be like a little chihuahua.
Oh, so like this?
Yeah, there you go, perfect.
Magically
That opened the door.
A scarab pops in to say hi, but we're not very friendly, so we blow its legs off and shoot it into sushi. We go back inside and interrupt a monkey taking a bathroom break, who's not very happy about the fact, so we murder everyone in the room to avoid anything getting leaked online. After murdering our way downstairs, 343 Industries spews some gobbledygook about the Ark, before we're interrupted by a phantom, so we go down some more stairs to fight their boss in a one-on-one. But apparently we're not doing it right or something, so we just kill everyone and make sure that doesn't get leaked online either. A flood of sentinels shows up and we're Ubered out to the silent cartographer? Well, would you look at that? The assault on the beach goes a little less smoothly than the one in the first Halo ring, and we're dumped off to deal with the anti-aircraft. But Xaniri wants to try a glitch, and we spend way too fucking long trying to figure out how to get it to work, only to decide that it must not work anymore or something, so there's 10 minutes down the drain. We're given a Puma to drive inland to turn off some shield generators and get to Truth, so we shove our way inside a generator building and take an elevator to a staff meeting that we interrupt because we're anti-capitalism now, I guess. We turn off the first generator, but...
Chief, find the tower
Who
controls
skipped the
and shut it
cutscene?
down.
So here's that cutscene we missed. We shut off the first barrier, the elites shut off the second, but Johnson doesn't respond, and his barrier doesn't go down, so we're off to see what's up. We hammer time our way out of the building and back down to the beach, where we're gifted some Hornets because our E-Girl was able to pay for them with her OnlyFans money. After flying into the next building, I splazer some hunters, and we take another elevator to another staff meeting to interrupt that too, and I shut off the final generator.
Okay, now all the brutes are
Hit the
dead.
switch, Chief,
Hands
and
off
the barrier will
keyboards.
fall.
God damn it! Who did that?
That wasn't me this time.
Here's the cutscene we missed. It's kind of important. High Charity shows up, somehow, even though it's definitely way bigger than the portal at the Earth, and part of it blows through the shipmaster's master ship and into our staff meeting, so we murder some popcorn. We head to Commander Shepard's favorite shopping district, but we're interrupted by 2 scarabs this time, except it's not any different from the previous scarabs we've already fought, so I drop Dave off on them and we kill them in just about 60 seconds. We make our way inside, and I want to pause a sec here to rant again. Okay, so throughout Halo 2, the prophets have been spouting about the Great Journey and how they'll ascend to godhood, and that even the humans won't be left behind when they activate Halo. Then then in this cutscene, Truth says that secret dies with all the rest, which means he knows that the Halo rings kill everyone. Then they're interrupted by Miranda crashing into the control room briefly before Truth continues by saying, "Your forefathers wisely set aside their compassion, steeled themselves for what needed to be done," which means he knows that the Forerunners activated Halo and killed everything once before. But then he says, "I see now why they left you behind. You were weak and gods must be strong," which just sounds like more religious rhetoric and that he doesn't understand how the rings work. So he activates the ring and we get to the second stupid part, where Gravemind shows up as two pure flood forms and then begs Chief to let him lead them to Truth, even though that doesn't really make much sense, because surely Chief and Arbiter already know that the Gravemind will immediately turn on them as soon as they deactivate the rings, which he does, and they clearly don't need any help mowing down hordes of Covenant because we've already been doing this the entire time on our own. So then after we make our way across the bridge, we're immediately betrayed, which everyone already expected. So Johnson pilots the Pelican and Gravemind tries to grab it and then just doesn't for some reason, and then slaps Chief and Arbiter off so he can stop us, and then the tentacles just go away, and we never see them again, which doesn't make any sense. Okay, back to the summary. Since the rant pretty much summarized the end of the level already, I'll just start where we are now. We mash some potatoes and make our way back across the bridge to jump down a hole.
I missed Heaven. I didn't kill Heaven.
Where Master Chief wanders outside to find a new Halo ring is being created to replace the one we blew up in the first game, and I'm already gonna stop and rant again. So, was this Cortana's plan? We don't ever really get to hear from her exactly what her plan was, even after we find her in the next level. She says she's got the activation index from the first Halo, which for some reason is just going to work fine on the new Halo ring, because apparently the Forerunners didn't have enough foresight to create a new password when one of the rings blows up. But what was Cortana's plan if Gravemind didn't crash High Charity onto the Ark? And speaking of crashing onto the Ark, how the hell did Gravemind make it into the Ark in the first place? High Charity is way too big to fit through the portal on Earth. And even if we ignore that, did Gravemind not leave any flood on the other side of the portal to infect Earth while we're busy fighting him on the Ark? What about Delta Halo? Am I supposed to believe that the centuries-old Supermind didn't have any contingency plan and didn't leave the Flood anywhere else in the galaxy? Because as far as the end of this game and then Halo 4 and 5 are concerned, the Flood are no longer a problem. Okay. Anyways, back to the summary. 343 Industries creams his proverbial pants about getting a replacement, and we let him know that we're definitely going to let him use the ring correctly this time. So he flies off to make preparations, and we apparently commandeered some Banshees at some point, so we fly into High Charity to go scoop up our e-girl. We break our way inside what I assume is Gravemind's anus, and he repeatedly taunts us by slowing us down and widening our FOV, which is actually something that's been happening the entire game, and it's really fucking annoying every single time. Cortana lets us know that Gravemind touched her inappropriately and makes a reference to Halo Combat Evolved. We blow up a reactor that's surprisingly small for having powered all of High Charity, and we run our way back out the same way we just came. We commandeer a flood-infested Pelican and Gravemind tries to stop us, but he just kinda goes, and lets us go for some reason. We fly through some JPEGs and up to the Halo ring, where we fly through another JPEG and then to the control room that's in the same place as it was in Halo Combat Evolved. Gravemind drops in a bunch of flood to taunt us.
Did you defeated?
Except we obviously didn't think that we defeated him by blowing up High Charity, or else we wouldn't be heading to Halo's control center to activate it and burn away the flood on the Ark. We struggle our way up to the control tower and get inside, but that's the end of the game I guess because MCC kicked us out again. After deftly maneuvering and muscling through ranks of flood back to the control room, we yank our e-girl and Johnson reveals to 343 Industries that we're going to throw a gender reveal party for Cortana, but there are so many things wrong with that sentence that 343 Industries burns Johnson to a crisp, and then throws a hissy fit until Johnson splazers him away, dies a second time, and then we borrow his splazer to splazer 343 Industries a few more times until he explodes. Fun fact, according to 343 Industries official lore, Guilty Spark actually survives this. Johnson dies a third time and we activate the Halo ring, where... Hey, wait a second. How come Chief gets to run in cutscenes and I don't while I'm playing him? We murder our way into a copy-pasted hallway from Halo Combat Evolved, but luckily this is the only one in this game instead of seeing it like 10 times in a row broken up by 10 identical bridges. We borrow Johnson's hog because it's not like he's going to be using it anytime soon, and we trial and error our way through the exploding Halo ring into the Forward Unto Dawn.
No! Dan, wait! Oh right, I just killed us all. Oh! Shit. I don't think we have enough speed for this. Oh god!
Yeah!
Oh, what?
Oh, come on!
What?
Arbiter gets a death fake out, but literally no one is fooled because, really? You expect anyone to believe that after all that climax, a main character got squished into a wall by a tank? And we fly off as the Halo ring explodes. Cut to a memorial where Lord Hood honors all the people who died during Halo 3, and we find out through some weird flashbacks that apparently the Forward Unto Dawn split in half at some point, and only the Arbiter made it back and that Chief is presumed dead? I guess. We don't really ever get to see that happen, but okay. Arbiter and Shipmaster head back to their home planet, and then we cut to Chief and Cortana floating into space on the other side of the fort onto Dawn. So much for the death fake out for Chief that really didn't make any sense to begin with. Chief freezes himself in a cryopod, and that's the end of the game. Oh wait, there's actually... Wait, what? Halo 3 teases the planet that shows up in Halo 4? Huh, okay.
Game over.
Running gags don't belong in a Halo game because running would ruin the pacing.
Hey, open up! Password. What? Need the password. You gotta be kidding me. What password? Password. They gave it out at the staff meeting 15 minutes ago. Meeting? What meeting? I was out here. Not supposed to let anyone in without it. If the staff meeting just ended, no one outside is gonna know the freaking password. Now open up! We need ammo and the chief is out here. Does he know the password? He wasn't at the meeting either!